I wrote this blog about MAGA now is going to help us because they're going to see ultimately, and I'm not talking about and I say this with respect, I'm not talking about the nutcases that cannot critically think no matter what's presented in front of them. I'm talking about those who say, oh my God, I was given the impression that this stuff wouldn't happen. So this is what I'm going to read a piece of what I wrote before I get to the phone. I wrote the 50.2 of American voters who did not vote for Trump and the millions who did not bother to vote at all are in a state of despair as they watch Trump and his co-president Elon Musk dismantle the government. Trump and his sycophants are doing to most of the government what they said they would. They're doing exactly what they said they would. Many of the folks who voted for him, including women, didn't believe that's what he said he was going to get rid of women. Headset have always been saying women don't belong in the military. MAGA thought that a government run by liberals and progressives and policies they perceive to give others unearned benefits and privilege, read diversity, equity, and inclusion, was the cause of their misery. To be clear, we have never had a government where progressive values took center stage in the aggregate. Of note, DEI does not give anyone advantages or privileges. It simply ensures that the historical privileges of some people do not prevent the competent and qualified people historically aggrieved from being excluded. The imaginary genius Elon Musk may come to our rescue. I will explain, but first let me point out some realities. I always cringe when I hear Elon Musk referred to as an engineer or a genius. He is neither. He has a BA in physics and a BS in economics from the University of Pennsylvania. Musk hit the jackpot with a loan from his daddy during the tech bubble years when a website with a concept, valid or not, gave companies billion-dollar capitalization on a whim. Musk is an expert in parasitic capitalism, just as Trump is. While there are exceptions, a sect with the privilege of access to capital could become billionaires, even as they intrinsically created nothing to move society forward. None of the technologies used in Musk, Tesla, SpaceX, and Starlink were generated by his intellect, but by the collective knowledge of scientists and engineers, mainly funded by taxpayer dollars. Most innovators and inventors received salaries and wages as those with capital parasitically grew their wealth on the backs of the workers and innovators. In other words, the people who create, invent, innovate, they're not the billionaires. They just get a salary. So that proves that just the salary doesn't stunt innovation. And these huge profits that these guys get are just, well, let's move on. In America, we have been indoctrinated into the belief that excelling in capital acquisition makes one inherently smarter or above most people when the opposite is true. Musk has the time to parade himself around the country and government because others are doing the work, which makes it clear that the billionaire class is not required at all, nor did they earn it. Musk and Trump hoodwinked MAGA into installing their Führer. They did not even care if he became a dictator who would own the libs because they believed he would be their protector. But after they acquired power, instead of competence and genius in implementing what they said they would, they showed they were neither. A competent Führer and his sidekick would use their purported genius to use AI and analytics to cause minimal pain to those MAGA who got them their power. What I mean by that is if they were really out protecting MAGA, there are instruments that you could have used within AI to match people in government and otherwise to know don't harm MAGA. But they didn't even do that. They didn't care enough about you, MAGA, to make sure you weren't harmed. They didn't care about you. A genius would know that parading himself with a chainsaw at CPAC as people, including their supporters, are realizing they are losing their jobs directly and indirectly, food stamps, SNAP, Medicaid, and potentially Medicare would change the national psyche. While there are diehard MAGA out there that will take a spear to the heart to protect their Führer and to own the libs, enough of them want to eat, enough of them want to see a doctor. While reversible, much of what Trump and Musk have released on us will inoculate in the minds of many, MAGA or not, the notion that the Trump administration is a clear and present danger to their personal economies. That makes MAGA our improbable allies. Again, that is enough to make many in the MAGA movement our allies. Many don't see that yet, but I'm telling you, MAGA will be our allies. While I take a lot of flack for reaching out and always keeping the door open to my MAGA brothers and sisters on my platforms, I can understand those who cannot stomach it. But some of us must. We must give them a place to land and accept them as allies when necessary for a mutually beneficial cause, and that is now. We must continue and join the organic Tea Party-like movement. Not Tea Party, Tea Party-like movement. They were very effective. I am watching this time against this occur right now against Republican congresspersons. We should use that opportunity to engage MAGA and MAGA adjacent voters and show commonality. We are at a flex point where counter change happens. MAGA will help us stop Trump for the well-being of those who still possess a working mind. And that's the end of that blog with a few of my little entrances.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.